This report reveals massive problems for the Padres, as these two players have hurt this team all year long, and there might not be a solution. Let's talk about it. Hi, welcome back to another episode of Padres Digest, another off day episode with Andrew. Hope you guys are doing okay. Got a I guess a fun video to make, but not great news, let's put it that way, to relay to you guys. Before we get into it though, please subscribe, help the channel grow. We just passed, 1,500 subscribers, so let's shoot for 2,000, and then let's shoot for a kabillion. What number is that? I don't know. Anyways, so I saw this report on Twitter, and the tweet below it, or I guess above it, said that Padres seeking upgrades at catcher. Who knew? I had no idea. So I thought we could go over what the article says and all that. For starters, I did see this, and I thought I would share it to you. Catcher war leaders. Can you see what we're missing? Any Padre whatsoever. Pretty sure we're very bottom of this list, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, it's not great. But we've watched it. We've seen it. I've already used these images before, but I'll use them again. Maldonado and Diaz combined relative scoring position, 7 for 80. That's not a typo. You could put a picture up there, and it wouldn't do much worse than that. And Maldonado is the worst catcher in the MLB at throwing runners out and below average at catcher framing and blocking according to StatCast metrics. I can read. He entered today with 51 weighted runs created plus. It's time to move on. So, this article was from MLB Trade Rumors, who I know is not like San Diego Tribute Union or anything like that, but they still have some good stuff out there, so I thought we could read it. I just pulled some quotes from it, and I will share them with you now. San Diego has leaned exclusively on Elias Diaz and Martin Maldonado behind the plate this year and received virtually no production on the offensive side of things. That veteran duo has combined for a feeble 205, 268, 328 slash line in 296 plate appearances. The resulting 70 weighted runs created plus, which indicates they've been 30% worse than the average at the plate, since 100 would be average, ranks 27th in the majors. If you were curious, that is very bad. Moving on. Unfortunately for the Friars, few of the clear sellers around the game have catching help for sale. Bright Sox Kyle Teal, Edgar Guerrero, something like that. Marlins Augustin Ramirez and Rockies Hunter Goodman all have young catchers enjoying good seasons, and are all controllable at least 5 years beyond the current campaign, aka they're either A, not willing to trade for him, or B, they would be beyond expensive for us to get. And then after that, Pittsburgh's Joey Bart makes some sense on paper, but he hasn't been able to replicate last year's breakout. The A's would make another good speculative fit, but Rosenthal reports that they have no intention of trading Shea Langoliers. He adds that even with Drake Baldwin ascending in Atlanta, a Sean Murphy trade over the next 4 weeks isn't likely because they have a very good catching tandem, unlike us. I can show you that guys right now. I'm pretty sure he was on here. Yeah, Drake Baldwin 9th with 1.8. So, not a lot of options out there right now. And I'll show you this last one, and then we can talk about it. There are some bubble teams who could eventually have catching depth to spare, but it's not yet clear whether any of those teams will sell. The Reds only control Tyler Stevenson through 2026 campaign, and fellow catcher Jose Trevino's recent 3-year extension, plus a club option, gives them a bit more stability long term. Similarly, the Twins and Rangers only have Ryan Jeffers and Jonah Heim under club control through 2026, although the latter is having a particularly down season at the plate. If the Orioles wind up selling, old friend Gary Sanchez would be a logical trade chip as an impending free agent whose bat is heating up in recent weeks. So, yeah. Basically, our options are beyond limited, and anyone who would have any actual value for this team would probably be too much of an overpay, which means, it pretty much means we're stuck. we're pretty stuck, right? And unless we can find, like the past 2 years, a diamond in the rough, like Kyle Higashioka was a throw-in for the Yankees, and he turned out really good. Gary Sanchez a couple years ago, obviously. Jorge Alfaro for a while. So we've been lucky with our catchers recently, and it's good, but it's not sustainable, right? So right now, we're pretty stuck. It's 3 options. 4 maybe, if you want to count the next player I'll bring up in a sec. But Diaz, Maldonado, or Campusano. right? I can show you the stats. So we made a whole video, or I made a whole video about Campusano a couple days ago, report on his case of using him. So if you want a deeper dive on Campusano, go like a couple days ago. We talked about Campusano more in depth. We talked about the catchers a lot this channel, but they're a big hole in this team, and I want to make that clear. But like I said, our three options: Diaz, Maldonado, and Campusano. As you can tell, Diaz and Maldonado horrible at the plate. Diaz is a better catcher by like catching metrics. I mean, he can throw people out. He has a good pop time. Framing's not great. It's not as good as Maldonado, but they're both below average. And Maldonado just sucks at everything. He just sucks at everything. And they're both old. I didn't even realize Maldonado was almost 40 years old. But yeah, both do not bring much value to this team at all, as you can see from these. But if I had to pick the what was it, the worst of two, whatever, you know what I mean? If I had to pick out of these two, I would definitely choose Diaz, but I would also only make Diaz a backup catcher, which then leaves Campusano as our only viable potential option, someone who has the potential to be a good or at least average MLB player. Obviously, he hasn't lived up to that standard this year or last year, really. It doesn't even have a hit this year. But there was a stretch in time for like a good month or two. I think it was 23, where Campusano had like a 300 average. He was hitting. He looked good. And then he changed his swing. And then his swing, it was working for a little bit. And then it stopped working. And then he changed it back. So there's definitely something wrong with Campusano. I personally think it's a mentality thing. I think Campusano's trying way too hard. I mean, you could watch his swings and his like last couple at bats. It feels like he's trying to hit like he's in AAA. Which, and I mean by that, I mean that he hits for power. When in reality, yes, we need power on this team, but we also need you to get on base by hitting the ball. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, power's cool and all that, but like, it if you keep swinging and missing and your average is like 198, but you have like, if you're like prime Kyle Schwarber before Kyle Schwarber's always been like a 200 average, 40 home run kind of guy. Obviously, Campusano's not going to hit 40 home runs. So my point being is, if you're not going to hit 40 home runs, having a 200 average is not great. Does that make sense? You get what I'm trying to say? So I think Campusano has to realize that what he's done in AAA is not going to work in the major leagues, especially because where he plays in AAA is a hitter's paradise. So I think he needs to have a mentality change. I think he needs to have some mechanical tweaks. And his catching apparently has been getting better, but he hasn't caught at all this year for the major league team. So I don't know. I feel like he'd be good to use with Kolek and Bergert, because I'm assuming he's caught both of them in AAA. Obviously, Bergert's injured right now, but yeah, maybe Waldron too. So it'll. I think it's a sorry, knocked my mic. I think it's a viable option to bring him up. I just don't know how well or how good of an option it is. But let's look into finally the possible options we were listed, right? So we have Gary Sanchez and Sean Murphy, which is a massive, massive stretch. So the more realistic one is Gary Sanchez, right? Who does have 5 home runs, which isn't a lot, right? But he has been heating up as of recent. I did not bring up his game logs, but I can do that on this side. So give me like 2 seconds. But the thing that I want to bring up for Gary Sanchez, though, is his catching is not great, right? He does not have very good catching at all, but he can probably still hit better, even though it's not great. It's still better than what we have right now. Yeah, so recently he has been playing pretty good. I mean, in June, he had 4 home runs, which isn't a lot, right? But he had a home run already in July, and his average has popped up pretty A-okay. I mean, he had a 354 average in June, so that's real good, to be honest. Much better than what we have. So he has been heating up recently, and, you know, he was playing horrible when he was the Twins he was released with when he came to us? Something like that, right? And then he power surged and had, like, one of the best years he's had since the Yankees. Will that happen again? Who knows? But then next to it, of course, Sean Murphy, the guy who would be a massive stretch for us. 12 home runs already this year. Stats are much better catcher, much better hitter, much better at basically everything. But the problem is, Braves don't want to give him up. And when a team doesn't want to give up someone, they're going to make you overpay. And right now, I don't think catcher is our biggest problem next to left field. I still think left field is a bigger hole, even though Gavin Sheets has filled in amicably. that the right word for that situation? I don't know. But he has filled in well, but he's definitely not someone I'd want to keep there permanently. I think he should still be a DH. He has been hitting good against left-handers, so making him a permanent DH wouldn't be a horrible idea, but I still want someone better on defense at left field, me personally. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but yeah, I don't think giving up a lot just to get Sean Murphy, and I don't know how much longer he has on his contract. I don't know if it's something I can find really quick. Give me 2 seconds. I'll look real quick. Okay, I looked it up. So he signed a 6-year deal in 22. So he'll be making $15 million a year till 28, and then has a club option in 29. So I guess I didn't show this in the article, but I can tell you here. Basically, it's saying that that'd be expensive, and the Padres don't have a lot of money, especially with all these contracts we've handed out that haven't worked out super well. Even though Bogaerts has looked better, still hasn't looked amazing, right? So basically, if we were able to get Sean Murphy, can we even afford him to pay him $15 million a year? I don't know. And it would still obviously cost us a good amount. And he would be making $15 million until he's 34. So I don't know. Obviously I would like seeing Sean Murphy on his team, but I don't know if that contract and that risk of having to give up potentially good prospects to get a catcher is something we would really want to do. So here's how I'd like to think about it, the catcher situation. It's super denial-y and super hopeful, I guess, or stupid. I don't know. Whatever. My point is that think of the catcher position as the pre-DH pitching batting order for the Padres. The catchers right now are just like they're like Madison Bumgarner when he was still hitting, because he definitely had some low-key power for some reason, but he most of the time got out, right? So think of a catcher right now as our pitcher slot in the lineup. They're not going to hit that great, but sometimes they might impress you, like they have been doing, both Diaz and Maldonado. So as long as we can secure 1 through 8 and then have our catcher up, I think we'll be okay. That's how the NL worked for 100 plus years. So yeah, that's how I'll think about it. But yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to show you guys. Padres might be screwed at the catcher position, but let's just not give up all hope in humanity. Let's for sure at least try giving Campusano another chance, because at this point, what else is there to do? Also, I never brought up, I said it was the 4 players, and I didn't mention this guy, but Valenzuela, I think his name was, Brandon Valenzuela, who is in AA right now. It's a little too early for him still. Give him some more time to develop. Let's not just throw a kid into the major league so he can struggle and lose all his confidence. Let's let him develop more. It's not his time yet. That's all I want to say about that. Salas too, even though he's injured. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know how you feel about the catcher position. Do you think we should trade for somebody, or do you think we should just suck it up and take the cards we got? Who do you want as a catcher position if we could trade for somebody? And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And as always, go Padres. Please subscribe. Goodbye.